Hi guys, this is IGCSE O-Level Chemistry, paper 22, Extended MCQs, March 2022, question 11. Which diagram shows the direction of movement of ions and electrons during the electrolysis of molten sodium chloride? So the direction of movement of ions and electrons. So anode is where oxidation takes place. So electrons will move away from the anode. So in option A, electrons are moving away from the anode. So this is correct. In option B, electrons are moving away from the anode. This is correct. In option C, anode has electrons moving towards it. Incorrect. And option D also has electrons moving towards the anode, making it incorrect. So option C and D have been eliminated. Now we have oxidation taking place at the anode. So the electrolyte is molten sodium chloride. So we would have Na positive ions present, which would deposit at the electrode where reduction takes place, which is the cathode. And we would have liberation of chlorine gas at the anode. So chloride ions would move towards the anode and Na positive ions will move towards the cathode. Chloride ions will be converted into chlorine and Na positive will be converted into sodium metal. So chloride towards the anode is represented in A, chloride towards the cathode is represented in B, eliminating option B, making A the correct option for this question. Question 12. Calcium carbonate reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid to produce carbon dioxide. The equation for the reaction is shown. The relative formula mass of calcium carbonate is 100 and the molar ratio as given in the equation is 1:1. So 10 grams of calcium carbonate is reacted with an excess of dilute hydrochloric acid. Which mass of carbon dioxide is produced? So we have got 10 grams of calcium carbonate divided by its MR, which is 100, giving us a value of 0.1 moles. And since the molar ratio of calcium carbonate to carbon dioxide is 1:1, then moles of CO2 is also equal to 0.1. Now, we multiply moles by the MR value of carbon dioxide, which would be 12 plus 32, giving us 44. So 0.1 into 44 will give us 4.4 grams, making option C the correct option for this question. Question 13. Molten sodium chloride and concentrated aqueous sodium chloride are electrolyzed using platinum electrodes. So they are inert electrodes. What are the products at the negative electrode, which is the cathode in each electrolysis? So cathode is where reduction takes place. If we have molten sodium chloride, the only thing that can be reduced is Na positive ions. So Na positive ions will be reduced to sodium metal. So this eliminates options A and B. And in concentrated aqueous sodium chloride, since we have presence of water, so hydrogen ions will be discharged in preference to sodium ions. So we would have hydrogen gas being liberated at the cathode and not sodium, eliminating option D and making option C the correct option for this question. Question 14. An object is electroplated with silver using an aqueous silver salt as an electrolyte. Which row is correct? The object to be electroplated is this should be the cathode, because whatever is being coated with silver, silver ions will be reduced onto it as silver metal. So reduction takes place at the cathode. So the object to be electroplated will be placed at the cathode, eliminating options A and B. And the other electrode is made from, since we have silver being coated onto the cathode, we need to have pure silver plate as the anode so that silver ions are made available by oxidation. So the other electrode is made from silver and not carbon, eliminating option C and making option D the correct option for this question. Question 15. Which row describes a change that occurs in an endothermic reaction? So energy change, energy given out to the surroundings. This is an exothermic reaction. So A has been eliminated. Energy given out to the surroundings, B has also been eliminated. Energy taken in from the surroundings, so we will continue with option C and D. Next, temperature. So if energy is taken in from the surrounding, the temperature should decrease and not increase. This eliminates option D and makes option C the correct option for this question. Question 16. Which statement about fuels is correct? Heat energy is only produced by burning fuels? No, incorrect. Heat energy is produced in any reaction that is an exothermic reaction. It need not necessarily be burning of fuels. So this is not correct. Next, hydrogen is used as a fuel, although it is difficult to store. Yes, it is used as a fuel in hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. Methane is a good fuel because it produces only water when burnt. No, methane is made up of carbon and hydrogen. So when it is burned, it will produce carbon dioxide and water. And uranium is burnt in air to produce energy. Uranium is radioactive. This is the last thing that should be done to uranium. Therefore, the correct option for this question is option B. Question 17. Which statement about endothermic and exothermic reactions is correct? In an endothermic reaction, less energy is absorbed in bond breaking than is released in bond forming. No, if less energy is absorbed, then this should be an exothermic reaction, not an endothermic reaction. So this is incorrect. In an endothermic reaction, the activation energy is always higher than in an exothermic reaction. So in an endothermic reaction, the activation energy, no, we cannot predict whether the activation energy for an endothermic or an exothermic reaction is higher. And specifically conclude that endothermic reactions will always have a higher activation energy. So this statement is incorrect as well. Next, in an exothermic reaction, more energy is absorbed in bond breaking than is released in bond forming. This is true for endothermic reactions, not exothermic reactions. So this is incorrect as well. And next, in an exothermic reaction, the reactants are higher on the energy level diagram than the products. Yes, in an exothermic reaction, the reactants are always at a higher energy level than the products. So this is true for an exothermic reaction. So option D is the correct option for this question. Question 18. The reaction used to manufacture ammonia from nitrogen and hydrogen is reversible. An equilibrium is established between ammonia, nitrogen, and hydrogen. Which statement describes the equilibrium? Both the forward reaction and the backward reaction have the same rate. Yes, in an equilibrium, the rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of backward reaction. Next, the rate of backward reaction is greater than the rate of forward reaction. No, they are the same. The rate of forward reaction is greater than the rate of backward reaction. No, they are the same. The forward and backward reaction have both stopped. No, it is a dynamic equilibrium. The rate of forward reaction becomes equal to the rate of backward reaction. So it seems as if the reaction is not taking place. However, the forward and the backward reactions will continuously occur till infinity because it is a dynamic equilibrium, which means it is constantly moving, and it is not a static equilibrium, which means the reaction has stopped. Therefore, the correct option for this question is option A. Question 19. How does increasing the concentration affect the reacting particles in a chemical reaction? So if you increase the concentration, the number of reacting particles would increase. So the options are increasing the collision rate. Yes, if the number of reactant particles would increase, then the collision rate would also increase. This eliminates options C and D. Next, increases the proportion of particles with the activation energy. No, increasing the concentration does not mean that number of particles having activation energy increases. So this eliminates option B and makes option A the correct option for this question. Question 20. Methyl orange is added to dilute hydrochloric acid and to aqueous sodium hydroxide. What is the color of methyl orange in each solution? So, methyl orange appears red in acids and yellow in bases. So, it would have a red appearance in hydrochloric acid, eliminating options A and D, and it would have a yellow appearance in sodium hydroxide, eliminating option C and making option B the correct option for this question.